Okay, now I've taken a little bit too long on that, accountability, but it's trying to indicate that the value that you give something is related to the action, okay? It's not, I like it and then I do an action, it's a separate thing. The action results from your value. So it's important that we get some kind of number on that, which is not to do with an action or to do with money, because the action of sharing in Sqale is related to the money flow. Okay, so when we say share, that's actually meaning money. Okay, so and when we share, if we're given something, we share it forwards. We're not adding any money. We're not spending any money. We're fine. We get to participate socially. We're enabling it. Fantastic. But if we add our own, it means it's increasing the chance of virality. It's increasing the number of people that are going to do this in a faster way. It's just much more efficient socially. And if I do that for things that I think are valuable, and even things that I don't think are that valuable, it means that we're just generally increasing the density of people that actually do like something to come together, like-minded people, valued people, and projects that actually people really want to work on. All right. I think that's about almost it. So virality is possible from 5 to 7. 8 to 9 effectively means that we can request things from them. So right now, the current basic build, it's not that basic, it's got quite a lot of features to it now. If you click on somebody within this system, you might not, you might look at this person there, all right? And you look at them and you go, oh, right, what have they got? And they've got a couple of things. You can view them, and they've got different projects and products, and then you go, oh, that's good. That looks like an interesting project. Can I request it? And if they've given it an 8 or a 9, it means that, in fact, no, you can request an individual, but if you, for whatever reason, you find a project and you don't know a person that's in it, so you're not going to be able to request an individual that you know to enter the project or to have the product. And somehow or other you come across the product, maybe online, okay, through some kind of mechanical means, okay, through some algorithm or something like that. And you want to go, no, I want to be part of the organic structure here. And so what you do is you put in a request, and right now that request, I think, goes to the content creator. And if it's an individual like me, I'm going to be paying. So, somebody might turn up and say, right, I'm interested in this video, all right? They found it online. Somebody shared it online through another service, and they found it, and then they put in a request, and it comes to me, okay? And I'll have to pay them. And if lots of people, if this thing goes viral through some kind of social media that's not responsible, then I'm going to get a lot of requests to give them these things, and it costs me money to do so. So what this means, by people indicating it's 8 to 9, we'll be able to build the next little feature, which would be that when they put in a request for that project or that product, it'll actually find the people that actually think it's actually pretty good and randomly choose one of them to send the request to. It should be related to the network of people that they know, okay, the person who's requesting, and do some kind of like social graph analysis. Or it might just, that's another little bit of code we have to develop. But initially, all you have to do is find out the people who thought it was 8 and 9, and just randomly and send 8, 9, or 10, and send out the thing to them. So the cost is not borne by the content creator. Okay, it's almost as like this person saying, "This is really good. I'm happy about sharing this with other people." So there's like it's an open invite. Actually, that's 10, a completely open invite, which is like automatic. Whereas this one, you can request. Okay. 10, by the way, means that you're engaged. It means like, wow, this is so good. This is what I do. This is an indicator of what I do. Or it's maybe not that good, but what I do is really good. Okay, so I do some algebra. It's kind of pretty good, but maybe somebody's got it's 10. Why? Because they're like, I can actually improve upon this. Okay, this is what I do, and it basically says, look at me, right? Because I'm doing something here which might be very interesting, and that's really useful for the content creator. All right, to look at and find that person who thinks it's like a 10. It's like great. And other users like, oh, right, there's a person who thinks that's a 10. Okay, what are they doing? What are they doing in their lives? What are they producing? Is it a musician? Is it a mathematician? Why do they think this is a 10? And they're doing something. And basically, the idea is that they should be creative. Now, last little bit then. Kind of related to this to do with accountability, we have responsibility. So, this one's a little bit, this one's quite interesting. Okay. So I was sitting there thinking, how do we introduce, this is kind of a big form of accountability, and it depends on each one of us sharing things that we think are valuable, and then almost like retrospectively going, the people that did not share, we could apply some pressure to collectively. Okay, collectively. That could happen, especially in order to engage hierarchy, okay, to interface with them in a powerful way. However, if we're just talking about person to person, we're still at this kind of like second social fact, social engagement, actual physical action, or subjective action between us, then there's a sense of responsibility as in what it is that one does. So, what I'm suggesting is that if you share, so what I was planning to do is just share all 3 lessons. Bang! Here are the 3 lessons, because some of them require all 3. So if you do algebra, you need to know the the equal sign, the aim, and the guide, the clue, the hint. Okay, and if you put all those 3 together, those processes, okay, then you can do algebra. So I want to give all 3. I don't want to say, here's 1. Do you like it? Okay, then go to the second one. Do you like it? And, you get to decide or not whether you like it. It's like, no, all 3. And so there are certain things, like with the high tango or the low tango, the way I teach it or share what tango is, it's not like lesson after lesson. I've not broken it down to moves and things. No. There's a dynamic, and I say, well, you have to do these 3 things at the same time. So if my first description of one of the processes is good enough, it doesn't mean that you can do tango. It just gives you kind of one of the aspects. And if you carry on to all 3, you should be able to get the process, and you might be able to do the tango. Okay, so this is not 1, 2, 3 linearly. Let's just remember, it's 1, 2, 3, and it's in a cycle or a dynamic of a certain order that once you do all 3 simultaneously, the tango occurs, or the algebra occurs, or the learning of the language occurs, or whatever it is. Okay, that's what the lessons are, the love lessons. Why? I haven't written that, I don't know. But why do I call them love lessons? Because it looks like that. It's a funny little meme-like thing that happened before there were such things as memes in social media. In fact, it's like less than or equal to 3. Okay. In fact, I think it's equal to 3, minimally. Okay. Anyway, what am I trying to say here? Right. So, what's our social responsibility to this, to make sure that the person's kind of got them all? It's not a matter of just going. It's like buying. When you buy something, that's it. Relationship to the person is gone. You go in, you buy the thing, that's it. You might have a brand relationship. I keep on buying, I don't know, Puma, just because my dance shoes are Pumas. Okay, I like the Audi TT. All right, I like that vehicle. But who did I get that from? The actual shops, the retailers. I don't have any allegiance to that. Whereas with what we're doing, because of the organic sharing, it really does depend on who it is that we're actually relating with. Okay, so there is a responsibility. So when you receive something, the most important thing, and I'm sure I point this out if I haven't made a mistake, it's the person who's giving this to you. That's why you're going to accept it. It's because the person who give it to you actually values you. They actually think that you're going to like this thing. They've evaluated that. They think you are important enough to give this, and they're going to give you money, and they're going to give you this content that they think that you're going to like. What's not to like? Now, in order to encourage that, there's also a responsibility. So if I receive something, a video, and I thought, oh wow, that's really good, it's 9, okay. What did I just watch recently? I did a throwback video of Encounters with the Third Kind and Last of the Mohicans. I think they're amazing films. Amazing. 8 to 9. Maybe even a 10. Okay, no. Okay, 8 to 9. Alright? But then, I'm just there at the end there, and I don't do anything. So somebody shared this with me, and I haven't done anything with it. And I've given it to 8 to 9. All right? I haven't valued it. I have valued it. Now, if I haven't at all, people should be like, well, did you like this thing? You watched it? Do you like it? Have you watched it? Don't know. Okay, anybody, the person who gave it to me, or anybody else could look, oh, right, okay, what's that person there? Well, I'll go and bother them, all right? If it's 0. If it's 1 to 4, I've indicated, oh, it's not for me. Okay, leave me alone. I'll share it forwards, and if there's a little line going away from it, you leave them alone because they've done it, all right? If they haven't got a little line, maybe we could bother them, maybe we don't, I don't know. I think not. Just do the social thing to get around the accountability. But if I've actually given it an 8 to 9, and there's no little lines coming off me, okay, and this is what people might do, okay, so there are people that have given it 5 to 7, and they might check. So the person at some point further up here actually went, wait a minute, that person hasn't actually shared it forwards, so I'm going to check. You know, maybe there's a whole chain of 1 to 3 to 4s, but then it hit me, all right, maybe. Okay, but the point is, I haven't done anything with it, and I've indicated I really do like it. So they've got every right to check. Okay, and if I haven't shared it forwards, if you've given it a 5 to 7, then share with other people, because you've got to kind of make up for my deficiency. My deficiency is 8 to 9. I haven't done anything with it. The person goes, oh, they haven't done anything with it. I'll share it with somebody else. Okay, in order to make sure this thing goes viral, or they have the right to actually nudge. If you've given it an 8 to 9, you kind of almost got the power to nudge. You kind of go, have you forgotten? You know, are you okay? And if somebody thanks me, somebody says, nudges me with a little thanks and say, oh, you know, thanks for value 8 to 9. You know, what's up? You know, why haven't you shared it forwards? A little nudge. And I forgot, I was on the phone. You know, I was about to do that, and then I got the phone, and I completely forgot about it. I'll go, get in there, and do it. Okay. That includes support. If I haven't actually done something, I think it's perfectly okay for people, definitely the person who's given this to you, to follow it up. Because they've given you the money, they've thought that you were going to like it, the person who gave it to me thought I was going to like it, I did actually like it, or somewhere down the line, and I haven't done anything with it. They have every right to engage me, to remind me. Maybe I forgot, or there's another thing. I can't remember. I generally forget, but there's another thing that people might do, which sounds a bit bad, but it's not. Okay, they're too busy. Okay, they're just too busy. Kind of similar. There's something else. Right. So it is possible to nudge. Now, okay, last little bit. And I thought, so if I do the sharing of 3 experiences, and I put them all together, like on one post. So algebra, this is the first thing, this is the second, this is the third. Okay, so you get to see the first one, hopefully you'll value, oh, this is not bad, and you value the entire thing. Fine. And then you watch the second one, because that's the whole point, you go, oh, it's good enough, I'm going to watch the second one, right, I'm going to share. So you go in and you share before you watch the third. Okay, the reason why you do it before the third, because once you've shared it, okay, and then you watch the third, you'll be able to check. You'll be able to check. Not artificially, oh, I've got to remember to check. It's because you've watched the third one and you're like, wow, that is really good. Right, I've shared it with these people. Have they actually shared it forwards? Have they valued it? Have they liked it? Have they moved on it? Do you see? And so it's quite natural. These segmentations is quite a natural part of the process of social cohesion. And it's about just making sure that we're just really getting the most out of what we actually value and relating to people who actually really value the same things. Okay? That clarified that. Did I finish that, or did I get sucked back into the checking thing? Oh gosh, my brain. I will get better at this, but it'd be nice if there were other people about. So the oh god, I should just rewind it, I guess. Rewind and let's see what I was yapping on about. This last thing, did I finish it? I should put like words up. Right, sorry, it's that word there. That's why I don't like writing up things beforehand. It's like having slideshows. It's like dead. Whereas if the thoughts popped into my head, I'll write it down, I'll yam about it, and I'll remember that I've just written up, so I have to deal with it. Like what I did with accountability. Right, and passwords. So what we could do, okay, is an additional thing which is not based on this social accountability, and it's more like responsibility, and it's a little bit firmer than that, is we stick in a password. Interesting. Okay. So what you do is you put all these on a blog post, 1, 2, 3, all right, but they're links to other posts. And the first one might be actually on that blog post, great. And the second one might be a link, and that's great, so you go to it. But the third one is password protected. Okay, it's good, but there might be a password to get to the third one. You think, password? Oh, do I have to pay for that? No. You've been given money to watch this, okay, because somebody trusts that you're going to like this, okay? And it's not like that. But it's just a little password in order to introduce a little bit of control by the responsibility by the person who shared this with you. And once you have done this, and only once you have shared, and the person who gave it to you can see. So this person can look at that person, oh, he shared it forwards, okay, I'll give him the password. He's only done it once. But if he's done it twice, it's not definitely that person. That person definitely gets the password for the third one. Okay, you can't. It's up to you. Okay, I'm sure there's different ways of doing it. But basically, you're checking. You're checking that they've actually shared it. And if they have got lines popping off of their thing, you've given it to this person, you've given them the money, and then you check at some point because you watched it now. The third one, you're like, wow, this is really good. You look at their thing, and oh yes, they have shared it forwards. Okay, great. Right, here's the password. Okay, and you basically thank them. You say, thanks for watching the second one, blah, 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 you know, I'm glad that you're liking it because they valued it too, blah, 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 blah. Here's the password. And you give them the password, and the passwords are just like on websites, any kind of browser has a password for it that you can create. And they can just pass the password forwards to you. Okay, so that then you can watch the third one and complete the cycle. Now that means that there's a responsibility, and it means, imagine if it's like more of like a lesson that the person's actually quite good at. It's not just the content creator, but there's something about, so it's almost like a franchise kind of, you know, it's one step ahead. So they're like mindfulness. They might have a little bit more of an idea about mindfulness, and they're saying, have a look at this, it's pretty good. It's not by them, it's some other author, it's some other article, whatever. But have a look at this, and, you know, have a look, and they looked at it and said, oh, what's your thing? Oh, I like the other one. It's like, okay, good. Can I, I'm just kind of like engage you to realize that it's not just the content creator, I'm involved in this process, and I'm actually pretty good, especially if you give it a 10. Okay, and so you're kind of mediating the relationship, you're kind of introducing a little bit more control, not like hierarchy. There's no exclusivity to it, okay? It just means that you're kind of in control of the password to give them so they can get the full experience, okay? I think it's kind of valid, all right? And in fact, I'm suggesting even if you see somebody else, for example, that red guy, and they've given it 8 to 9, but they haven't, okay, yes, and they have shared it forwards, but there's no way to indicate whether that person has been taken care of and actually got the third lesson, all right? There's no way to indicate that. They might have said, oh, 8, 9, right? They pass it forwards, but there's a password to it, and it's not clear whether the person who's kind of like given it to them, if they've forgotten, they're not checking, they're not being responsible, and so it's possible, even though I don't know them, they're just on this graph somewhere, I'll go, oh, okay, I can check. And if they haven't supported, if they have not supported, then I can reach out to them and say, oh, do you want the password? Because you've shared it forwards, you're kind of qualified, so have a password. Okay. And it also encourages the person basically to support. So, although we're talking about this, it's very basic, do you see? But from a very simple thing of value, from that simple thing, we can really start to communicate with each other in a much more efficient manner, okay? Much more socially engaged. It gives us a good excuse and kind of almost like social etiquette for organic sharing. Don't bother people if they've given it 1 to 4, especially if they've shared. Okay, especially if they've shared, it's like they're out. If they have shared 5 to 7, it's like, okay, great. If they're 8 to 9, even better, great. And we just kind of, oh, we're interested. And, we've got these extra kind of like mechanisms, and we've got accountability, and we've got responsibility. Kind of like this kind of responsibility, and potentially kind of maybe like gatekeepers, but not exclusive gatekeepers. So there's a lot of richness of how we can make use of this, which is comparable to the complexity of sharing that's going on in the world right now, whether LinkedIn, or you're sharing through Twitter, or sharing through whatever, but it's all kind of the same, whereas this starts getting into tasty, tasty values. So be responsible and value, be responsible and share, and be responsible and support, and be responsible and invite. If you like something, if you think it's valuable, make a decision after the first one. If you like it, watch the second. If you think the second was good, then share it. And the third, share, support, right, whatever you want to do. Okay. Also, allow yourself to be approached, because people might be interested in what you have to say. Certainly put stuff in the content. The content, we don't have NLP, but I know somebody that might be looking into that. Again, all these things cost money, but basically we can get natural language processing, so we can look at comments, so that we can actually, if you had like 1,000 people, a lot of them is like 8 to 9, you're like, okay, great, but who's actually saying a similar thing to me? And that's why we need to have the NLP, so that the top, if you've got like 40 of those, the top, do an order of what the algorithm is trying to suggest in terms of the language might be related. Okay, so we will use algorithms and so on and so forth for second order analysis, but the primary one, social engagement, must remain with us, person to person. Okay, organic sharing. So deep values, first social fact, and our relationships. The second one is the actual sharing, the action of sharing, and the third is what are we doing with all this? Well, what are you going to do with it? Okay, hopefully change the world. Okay, let's do that. I think we're there. I think that's everything. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, that's it. Finished. Right, let's go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Shoot, I just got rid of that person. But okay, look, there's an extra little bit. All right, it's not like a secret, don't worry. But you might treat it like that. It's like, oh, there's an extra little secret little thing at the end that somebody missed. Right, state, A, B, C. This actually correlates this other aspect of the systems that originally was in education, but it's another way of describing a social state. C, accountability. That's why schools and classes collapse back down to C, because the teacher is accountable for the behaviour and the learning of the students. Not responsible, I don't think. I think the students are responsible for their own learning, but the teacher is accountable. Okay, and it's because of that they have that force to be able to do sanctions and so on and so forth. But what we're doing here, okay, we're talking about A and B state, okay, because basically an A state is where everybody's doing all this and supporting and sharing and doing great things and adding money and really just taking part and letting things flow. So when they think it's 1 to 4, they actually are going to share it. Whereas a B state means, a bit of a nudge. So like, wait, do you want to just push that forward? Do you just want to kind of like just let that flow so it doesn't just stop and connect up other people that might be interested in the same thing, and also improve virality. Okay, so B is quite natural. We do make mistakes, we do forget, or we get lazy, and so on and so forth. And it's quite reasonable for other people to give us a little nudge, just like, oh yeah, I've forgotten, oh right, okay. And that's what a B state is in a classroom. Oh, I'm not quite paying attention, or I've dropped some litter, oh okay, I'll pick that up, or whatever it is. And the B state is to help us do that. Okay. So that's quite nice. That all of this stuff is more to do with A, B state than C state. Although we do have this system here, as we described, to do with a social form of accountability, because there is no external form of accountability. It's really just us. Okay. Right. Thank you very much.